Hello, everyone. Welcome to Postgame Live. After the Cats did it again against the Crows at Kidinia Park, or GMHBA, whoever you're sponsored by, did it again. 9 goals, 14-68 to 9 goals, 6-60. A massive territory game in the fourth quarter to get the job done in the wet. Mighty performance. Ollie Dempsey, have my babies. But let's get the normal host of the show. By the way, my name's Ben. If you've watched this show last year, you know who I am. But the normal host of 2026, he's gracing us with his presence, which is just lovely. But let's bring Paul on. Here he is. Welcome,
hey,
Paul.
Mate. Hey, mate. How's things?
We got the show going at last.
Yeah. Take two. A few people have spotted that there was a failed stream. wasn't initially public, but we got there. This is what happens, everyone, when Ben takes the reins. Everything starts to go wrong again.
So everyone, just so you know, Paul's been at home for about 2 hours now. I've been racing back from Kidinia Park in the pouring rain.
I've been packing for a holiday.
Packing for a holiday and doing other things. Probably playing your game for the last hour and a half.
Who are you kidding? I gotta watch the match. The timing was perfect. So I thought that my work thing was supposed to end at 8 o'clock. It conveniently ended at 7:30 on the dot. So I am walking from one end of my school to the other, phone in hand, KO on, pop it in my mount in the car, got the game on as I'm hitting. Like I didn't miss anything outside of, about 5-10 minutes there where I was chatting to my wife first getting home. I haven't seen her in 12 hours at that point, a bit of a chat, just paused it, rewatched it, caught up over the halftime break. We were golden.
Beautiful. I've just dropped the link in the chat, everyone. So feel free to join and have a chat about the win tonight. Paul, what did it look like on the telly? Because this is the second time I've told you this now, but I was sitting in seat 1A next to the Cats interchange bench. Literally, I was breathing on the glass where Lawson Humphries was getting his quads or his corky massaged on the spin bike and all that.
You reached over and grabbed him, didn't you?
I did.
You started doing some of the massaging.
I blew him a kiss, and no, I didn't do all that. But I made sure I gave them a good pump up every time they went on and off the ground. And but yeah, it's good. It's a good vantage point, that one. You see the game a little bit differently. So I could say Ethan's jumped in too. But Paul, I want to know your thoughts because you've got an early start tomorrow morning, Paul, and you need your beauty sleep, as we know.
No, I've got a normal start tomorrow, but I've got a long day. So as anyone who's been tuning into the Paul James show is aware, I'm off to Metung, however we pronounce that place. It's 4.5 hours up the road. So, and I've still got a full day of work first, and I'm going to have a 5 and a 7-year-old in the back seat as we do it. So,
I'm sure they'll
it's going to go great. But it's not so early for me to start dropping F-bombs. We're okay. Shout out to any of my students who might be watching that.
Hello.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a long day as opposed to it'll be a fairly normal 6 a.m. start for me, but then it'll get ugly from there. But anyway, yeah, the game itself. I actually want to ask you about your experience there because you were talking about obviously right by the bench. What about that bit where all of a sudden the heavens just opened? Was that hail? It looked like hail on the TV.
Yeah, I'm still wet from that couple of minutes of rain where I was trying to get the poncho on, but couldn't get it on in time and was absolutely covered in rain. But it stopped just as quick as it started, and we got on with life. And the Cats just went out there and just kept pushing and fighting, and we pretty much held that lead the whole way. But the rain, I think the rain was always when we knew it was going to rain before the game. We thought, that's probably going to help us, Adelaide. Coming from interstate, I think they had maybe a slighter shorter break than us. Obviously, we had the long break because of the bye, but I don't think they had a 7-day rest or anything either. And playing in the wet, and they haven't won here in 23 years, Paul. So absolutely, this
never had a chance. Never had a chance.
We were absolute short price favourites. We're never going to lose. Until we nearly did at one point in the fourth when they hit the front. I was like, oh, crap. And
Flash with a bit of blasphemy here in the chat, by the way. That incorrect free kick to Tommy Atkins may have swayed the game.
What happened? Can someone talk me through that?
It came off Tommy Atkins' foot.
Was there a moment in the game, apologies if I've put Grine's name here, and I'm sorry, Grine, if it was you, but did Grine turn the ball over directly to an Adelaide opponent to give them a chance to win the game with 90 seconds left?
He did. A little chip kick that
What the
didn't
hell?
quite execute, and it went straight down the gullet of an Adelaide player, and they went charging up the other end. Yeah, that was nearly a nightmare moment for him. But
He was good
you
all
could call
day,
it a
though.
goal assist. You could call it a score involvement.
Yeah, he could. He probably will. He probably
Not
chalked
for
that
us,
one
but
down.
look, whatever. Like when you play the way Grind does, which is a high risk game, every now and then errors happen. Usually not of that level of significance, but sometimes errors happen. We'll give him a pass. He's earned more than his fair share of brownie points. But yeah, Flash's point there about the incorrect free kick to Tommy Atkins. So it would have been near you, actually, come to think about it.
Yeah.
Near
I
the
don't
bench.
know. It was 100%. It was off Tommy.
But it wasn't like I understand the umpires in the moment going, I don't know. And Tom Atkins sold it very well. And he might also have genuinely, because he doesn't strike me as the sort of bloke who intentionally lies. He may well have thought that it did come off the Adelaide player's foot.
Well, do you know what Tom would have done? He knew. He knew. First things first. He knew it was off his own foot because he tried to stop it going out of bounds after it came off his foot, but he couldn't. And then he sort of gathered the ball, pretending it was his free kick, if nothing else, but to waste a few seconds on the clock and allow his teammates to get back and set up and position, because he knew it was going to. And then he was like, "Oh shit! Okay, it's my free kick. Okay, that's interesting, but we'll take it." So good on Tom. He's not Adam Gilchrist. He doesn't walk, but that's why the umpires get paid to do their job, Paul.
But to be clear, like the commentary teams, and we're rightly questioning, well, aren't we meant to have the arc for this? That's what the AFL said is supposed to be the case. I don't want the arc intruding on stuff like that, though.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Jake. Like the video, you bastards. Right, thank you. Thanks, Jake.
Fucking assholes. Subscribe. Anyway.
Abuse the viewers. They'll get them to sign up.
Treat them mean, keep them keen, Ben.
Exactly. That's how you do it, people. If you want to learn, I'll put a YouTube instructional video out there one day. Abuse your viewers and they'll come in droves.
Yeah. Something to that. Anyway, I don't want the. I know this one worked out in our favour, so it's going to sound all very convenient coming from a Geelong supporter, but I don't want the arc intruding on stuff like that because it already slows the game down a bit when it comes to score reviews. We had one. Was it a behind or was it out of bounds on the full? Like that sort of call is already a pain in the ass. Like for the sake of 1 point, defer to the umpire, please. But in instances like that, you need to keep the game going.
Yep.
Like the free kick, it's meant to provide an advantage to the opposition team. They should be able to take off straight away.
Yep.
And so, yes, the umpire's call was ultimately wrong, but I don't know. I don't like a scenario where we hold up the game like that for Tiggy Touchwood calls like that.
Weren't we supposed
regardless of whether they were right or wrong, I might add.
Weren't we supposed to speed the game up?
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing. You don't want that sort of thing to hold up the game. So.
I can see we've got a newbie. Is a newbie in the chat? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this name before, so
Declan Fatty, we see you, Declan, and we can't Declan possibly.
We saw you. No, you turned your camera off briefly, but Ben is looking forward to chatting to you and come back next week as well. There's a wave in the background.
Ethan's like, what am I, chopped liver?
Make sure to come back next week when I'm hosting as well. But
come on for me.
Yeah, Ethan's fantastic. Yeah, that's what it is. Ben comes out and we get some new guests and new hosts and anyway.
Paul, that last quarter, and I know recency bias is everything, and I thought the Cats played well for 4 quarters, to be honest. It was a game of momentum swings, but felt like Geelong held them at arm's length. But talk me through watching it on the telly. Have you got any fingernails left? Did you enjoy? Did you feel like Geelong had it under control? Or were you getting a little bit nervous with all the behinds that we were putting on the scoreboard at one point?
Look, the behinds on the scoreboard certainly kept them in it, right? So it creates a bit of panic. But not necessarily. They kicked 3 goals consecutively, going from about the 7 or 8 minute mark. Sorry, from about 7 or 8 minutes left in the third through to that goal early in the fourth. And so naturally, they were pretty well paced out, and Geelong had their opportunities along the way. So naturally, you're going to get a little bit edgy because they've kicked 3 straight. But at the same time, they weren't doing it with ease. Geelong were getting their opportunities and just weren't taking them. So I thought, we're still playing our game. We're still kind of keeping on top of them here. We're just not quite executing. And they are when they're getting their opportunities. So I don't want to be overtaken in a match. I don't want a close one. But yeah, I wasn't hugely concerned. Hang on, look at this.
What is going on?
Number one Max Holmes fan in the background as well.
I like it. Let's see how many we can get on.
This is awesome. Again, all of you. I'm not going to get a chance to chat to any of you tonight and meet you all myself. But
because you got to get
your
jammies
on. I'm already wearing my pajama pants, and they're not Ninja Turtles ones. Just so you're aware.
I thought you would have already. Oh, there. He's got the Ninja Turtle. So he wears 2 layers because he gets cold at night. People. He likes to wear 2 layers of pajamas. So he's got the Ninja Turtle ones underneath. Dempsey, can we talk about
welcome to our new people who have no fucking idea.
What are you talking about?
Just referenced.
What are you talking about? I think you should do. Yes, Ben does bring new people. I bring them all to the yard, Shadu.
With his milkshakes.
I bring them the milkshakes. Talk to me about Dempsey, Paul. That goal, the 4 efforts there. That must have been pretty spectacular. That'll be on
just the way he willed himself into it. Like, it was ugly. It was ugly from him. It was ugly from Ollie Wiltshire. It was ugly from everyone involved. But at some point, the ball just spilled out, and finally someone with clean hands picked it up. It happened to be Ollie, and he executed. No surprise that Ollie Dempsey is executing from less than 15 meters out from goal. And Gary's got the smell of blood now after claiming the scalp of Brad Close. He's now got another one in the gun. He needs more time. Like, I don't think Zach Guthrie is in good form, but he needs more time. I think he's earned that, as had Brad Close. But Brad Close has had about 18 months of stinking it up. Come on. And Zach Guthrie deserves at least a few more weeks before he's, I think, in the gun, in my mind. But he does need to find some form. He's not nailing it at the moment.
No, he's not quite nailing it. And this is Pumpkin, the number 1 cat of the Hoops crew.
Yeah, how many bot accounts did you get to vote on that, by the way?
The official cat. We did have a
dodgy
Pumpkin's going to step all over the keyboard, but anyway, I'll move that out the way.
Yeah, if we accidentally kick to the end music, you'll know why.
Yeah, no, we won't hear a bad word about Ollie Wiltshire. I thought Ollie was terrific. A couple of players tonight that didn't hit the scoreboard and didn't do a lot of damage on the scoreboard. Ollie Wiltshire absolutely deserves to play another game, but Willie, I don't think he probably will. Not. I think if we get some players back, and I can't imagine Close missing more than 1 game. But you think Danger might be a week away, and who else? Warple's probably coming back for his 150th against who next week?
The Hawks.
Hawks.
But yeah, I mean, Warp will potentially come back in. If Danger doesn't come back in, maybe, like, I think Ollie Henry stays. Ollie Wiltshire probably comes out. Not because he did a particularly bad job, but I think that's just the pecking order. So then following that, Danger probably returns. Tyson Stengel is going to be really, really close now. It's going to be hard for those who've gotten their opportunity to retain their spots. It's going to be hard for someone like Brad Close to come back in. Like, there's a lot going on there. Like, I think it's going to be really difficult.
Yep. A couple of people are shouting out. There's a bit of a mix here, but Jhye Clark, some people saying, should we be worried about him? Other people are saying he was great in the middle. I thought he was terrific.
I thought he was fantastic, especially in the last quarter.
Pumpkin, get your ass off the TV. All right, off.
I'm loving the physicality he's bringing to his game at the moment. He's, possession count fluctuates. I'd be curious, actually. I didn't note it when I've already recorded my reaction, everyone, for tomorrow, so that I can do this and then go and bounce out and get some sleep. But let me check his time on ground, because that's the thing I've been noticing. Like, his numbers have been low to mid teens in previous games, but his game time has still been low. And again, today he's only played 67% of game time. And if there's a single one of you that's watching this that just did that stupid hand gesture to go with the fact that I use that number, fuck off.
Paul, there's moments in games of footy that when you're watching it live and when you're watching it on the TV, you're just willing your player to do the right thing in that moment. And it doesn't always have to be a possession, doesn't have to be a mark. It's like a tap. It's like put a body on, lock it up, something like that. And Jhye's doing that all the time these days. So don't look for his performance on the score sheet. I don't think you're going to see it there. I think you only see it with the eye test at the moment with Jhye Clark, and maybe that's the statistical side of it will come with time. But he's just making the right decisions in the right moments, and he's only going to get better. People, he's in the very, very early years of possibly a 12 or 13-year career. Hopefully,
he's low key, and like we're not seeing a lot of evidence of it yet, but low key, he's pretty good over his head.
He's very good over his head. He's not a Jimmy Bartell, but
no, he's not. No, he's not of that caliber. But
no, but he's worth his weight in gold.
Few are. So his tackle pressure was really good. Like he laid 5 tackles. Have I been drinking? Flash. You can properly get fucked.
Pumpkin fast.
Again, treat him mean, keep him keen, right? Yeah, 5 tackles. His marking was important. His decision making was great, as you said. And when the whips got cracking, he put his head over the ball and he willed himself through contests. He didn't always win the ball, but he really busted open a few contests. And that's that in a wet weather game. That's what you want, right? Like you're not necessarily going to run away with the ball because it's a cake of soap in some ways. But if you can just break through that contest, knock a few blokes out of the way, and whether you pick it up or a teammate comes, is able to dive on it and shovel it out from there, that makes a huge difference. So I really loved some of the things that won't be represented on his stats sheet. No. And to the disposal count, like he's been when he's been in the seconds, he's been getting mid to high 20s, even 30s most games. Yeah. So like he's showing the capacity to go and win the ball. He just needs to be given that opportunity, and he needs to be given more game time. And they're continuing to build him up. But I would take like 15 disposals, 5 tackles from 67% of game time.
Yep.
That's pretty good output for a player of his level of experience in a team like Geelong's, which is stacked.
Someone said this the other day. I think it was someone on the radio that they said, even if you get 35 touches in a game of footy, let's use Bailey Smith, for example, 40 touches tonight.
Yeah, actually, that's a weird one. So, and people will see it when I recorded the reaction. He had 39 disposals against his name. Someone shouted it out before, and I've taken a look at the stat sheet. He's now got 40 next to his name.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of
they've just added one somewhere after the game. It was 39. It is immortalized in match reaction form.
Anyway, what I was going to say is he might have had it 40 times in his hands, but he had the ball in his hand about 2 to 3 minutes of the whole night out of 120 minutes of football. So my point is, it's what you do when you don't have the ball. It's not just as important, but it's extremely important, everyone. So Jhye Clark is doing a lot of things without the ball. When he's not getting that possession, the way he's moving up the ground, he's getting a lot smarter about his football. He's understanding the Geelong way, and we don't always see it because it's not always in that little frame that the camera wants to show on the TV either. He's probably not as vocal as what I'd like him to be, but he's doing a lot of things right. So I think stick with Jhye and let's keep him in the team as long as he's deserving of a spot, and I think he is at the moment. I'm liking what I'm saying, Paul.
Also to that, and I know you obviously cited Baz in his 40 disposals, but to go with those 40 disposals, 10 tackles.
Yep. Great game.
That's wild. And 6 clearances, but 10 tackles for Bailey Smith, who's, he's obviously meant to be that offensive player, doesn't necessarily worry about some of those defensive acts or perform them consistently, but that's a huge performance.
Yep. Absolutely.
Is it most on the ground? It is. It's most on the ground.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think Holmesy might have got 27 or something. Blitz and Stewie might have had mid-20s. I'm not looking, just from the radio on the way back.
Yeah, 27 to Holmes, 25 to Grind, 24 to Stewart, Manor, and Blitzarves. Mark Blitzarves' first, big possession game in quite a while.
Yeah, he was good.
Not that he's necessarily been bad the whole time, but that's kind of the first high possession count game he's had in a while. Yeah,
he looked in control. It was probably a good game for him, really, in the wet. A big body like his, it just suited him the way the ball was moving. He was able to get to a lot of contests and just put that big frame in front of the ball, give it off to a teammate, bring it to ground for the smalls, all those little things. And goodness me, he's another captain out there. I know he's not officially one of the two, the captain or the vice captain, but Chris Scott talks to him all the time during the breaks, and he never shuts up on the bench, and he's always talking to these teammates. I'm going to miss that guy when he retires, mate. I really will. Yeah. I hope we got him for a couple more years.
Dead guy highlights a player. that we should definitely talk about either
Who?
now or certainly through the rest of the rest of the night. Oisin Mullen, his left foot.
Oh, yeah.
Oisin was, I mean, I'm not going to hone in on so much on the left foot specifically, but the tagging job that he did on Isaac Rankin was great.
Yeah.
Rankin probably got off the chain for no more than, and I wouldn't say even off the chain. That's probably giving Rankin too much credit. 3 or 4 minutes where he managed to string a few together. Maybe Osh was on the bench at that point. I don't know. But he was fantastic. Why does everyone think I've been drinking? I was at a work thing, not even a function. I had to pretend that I knew what I was talking about tonight.
Apparently, Max Holmes doing. He's catching up with Boris Enright on the porcelain bus at halftime. Dropping
fair enough.
He had a wrist or a finger injury, and he went downstairs to get it looked at away from the cameras. We had all the radio. You know how there's like someone on the boundary line providing radio updates about who's injured and who's not.
Has just gone down the race. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they literally were sitting right behind me the whole time, and they're using when Max Holmes is and blah 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 and they just do this like radio voice. Like Anna Pav does it really well as well. Friend of the show. But Paul, what else did you like from tonight, mate? I've got Ethan and
I'll shout out one more player, and then I'll leave it to everyone else from there. I've already put his name out in the Discord tonight, but Sam De Koning. I am delighted with the vein of form he started this year in. Obviously, we can put a line through everyone really off the back of Gold Coast, but his efforts since that game, like it's really striking me as 2022 Sam De Koning. You can see the hunger. There's that ferocity. The spoils, obviously, look, the weather certainly helped. Hang on, Kerry. I've already made the turtlenecking joke.
Sorry, Paul.
But
distracting you.
It's all right. Yeah, you totally derailed me. The weather obviously helped, but it felt like Connor O'Sullivan was outgunned by Riley Tilthorpe on a few occasions. Just that size, like he's a bit of a brute, right? And I have no concerns about Connor O'Sullivan's development. He's going to continue to bulk up over the next few years and be phenomenal for a long, long time. But Sam's just got that little bit of extra height, that little bit of extra reach, that little bit of extra strength, just having gone through a few more preseasons. And the magnets clearly got switched around a little bit there, I thought, and Sam really came to the fore there with some. I mean, obviously there's one spoil I'm sure everyone watching really can think of quite vividly, where he spoiled the ball from Tilthorpe and it rocketed 40 meters off his fist up the ground, and that was a huge spoil. But even setting that one aside, there was just lots of small moments where he got the fist in, where he outbodied someone. I was really impressed by Sam De Koning, and that's coming off the back of another good game 2 weeks ago too. So
Paul, I'm going
to
put you on speaker mode while I put the cat to bed. You're right to hold the fort for 2 minutes.
Put the cat to bed.
I'm putting the cat to bed for 2 minutes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just leave your thing on. That's all right.
I'll leave the post.
Oh, it's just me, 100%. I'll just take over the reins. It's my show anyway. Ethan, come on in. Ben, stop clicking things. There we go. Ethan, there he is.
Hey.
Ben can fix everything later. How you going, mate?
Good. Could be better if we had been a little more convincing there and cleaned that thing up, but ultimately did what we needed, I guess. 4 points is what matters. Would I have liked it to be cleaner? Yes. I thought that was a funky game in terms of just I thought maybe our best performers weren't necessarily the most important ones to winning the game, whereas guys who played a pivotal role maybe weren't the ones that were at their best. Like if you look at who relative to their expectations and output was actually really good, it might have been guys who were kind of more marginal. And I'm glad you were talking about Sam De Koning. I thought he was terrific tonight. His body language was great. He maybe got beat once the entire night. Ollie Henry was really good at the other end. He went after it hard.
Ollie Henry was great. The intensity he showed the intent he showed was great.
There was one where he obviously got tripped by Nick Murray. They didn't call it, and he just got back after it and ended up helping create a goal that, even if it wasn't his goal, he still had a big role.
has been prone to complain and sook and whinge a little bit in the past when the umpire's call hasn't gone his way. And you're right, like in that play, he just got up and went after it again. He was right that he kind of got tripped.
Oh, he absolutely.
Their legs were ultimately tangled, but there was the kind of then leg locked him a little bit and down he went. But he just got up and got going with it, which was awesome.
Yeah, which like we've needed more out of guys like him that need to be able to stick with it when things aren't going their way. And he did. And I thought as a team collectively tonight, we were great through the air, especially that first quarter. We were dominant in marking contests, getting the extra man there. And that kind of went away late where we were kicking into packs where we were outnumbered. But the sort of thing that makes you think, like in drier conditions, maybe we're a little cleaner there and we end up winning that game a little more comfortably. Yeah.
Which is interesting because there's a lot of, like, I've been picking through the stats already, as I'm sure you have too. Like there's a few measures there that you go, oh, our disposal efficiency was good. Our efficiency inside 50 was good. It was just some of those. No, it was just a few. The ones that we missed were kind of the critical kicks, the critical handballs.
Yeah, like, the ball to like for example,
result in a missed shot, etc.
For example, I know Bailey Smith got to 40 and he was great at ground level, but a lot of times his use, like at the end of a big chain, was pretty bad, where he would just kind of kick it into a crowd hoping someone would come up with it. Or there was one in the third quarter where we were going down the left wing and he had Mana and one other option out in front of him, and instead he just kind of blasted it aimlessly and it led to a turnover.
I think it's the normal reaction from a lot of players in those sorts of conditions is to just turn and hoist it as far as you can. And he probably fell into that trap on a few occasions where he didn't need to.
I think so. Like we had a couple other weird ones too. Like as good as Ollie Henry was, he did have one like no look handball that was just like, why? You are not the guy who should be doing that. But I thought like there are pieces there that we can put together and get something out of it. It's frustrating that we didn't win this game by more, frankly, because we easily could have won this game by 30 plus. Yeah. I mean, I thought we needed to jump on him more in the first quarter. Like inside 50s in that first quarter were 22-7, and we did not capitalize on it like we could have. Really, we dominated both the first and fourth quarters and didn't get the goals out of it that I thought we should have.
Yeah, just didn't quite capitalize.
Where there were plenty of chances to.
I'll use this as an opportunity to transition myself out of it because I better go get myself some rest. But Ethan, been good to chat. I'll get to chat to you next week. Again, to number one Max Holmes fan and Declan in the background. Looking forward to chatting to you hopefully next week. Come back and talk.
We'll have a menage at some point, Max Holmes fan and Declan Paddy. We'll get you on while Ethan's on as well. So hang in there. I won't keep you waiting too long.
You're really leaning into the comments there with little menage reference, aren't you?
I am seeing Ben in little.
I cannot hear Ben now.
That's for the better. But that is interesting because I can definitely hear him. But
let me try this. It did this to me once before. I'm going to refresh.
That's right. I'll bet that Ben. I'll let you take over your hosting duties anyway. But thank you everyone for tolerated me for my brief tenure on my own show. And I hope you can tolerate. I hope that you can tolerate Ben as he destroys the show in the meantime. Enjoy everyone. The match reaction video is on the back end for you, Ben. That'll go up tomorrow. And I look forward to chatting everyone over the course of next week.
You think it will? I'll bury it.
Well, yeah. Let's not lose sight of the Brad Close video, time to drop him video that I produced and then didn't get to publish because Ben didn't do it. The danger video, and then both found themselves out. I was ahead of the curve, just like Gary when it comes to Brad Close, and Ben destroyed it for everyone.
I did.
This is why we can't have nice things, everybody. All right, I'm out. See you all.
We need that sound effect. He's gone. Finally, he's gone. Shall I boot him from the studio? Because he has a habit of just popping up. There he goes. He pops up again. All right, Ethan, are you still here?
Fuck you. I didn't do that.
Ethan.
Yes.
We got you loud and clear.
I don't know why I was doing that where it like muted me for a sec. But anyway, I thought, we dominated aerially for a lot of the game. That I think in drier conditions that goes better. We were very good defensively tonight. The couple of goals they got were usually off of like a turnover or some weird play where someone leaked out. which we do need to be better at. That's been a weakness of ours for a long time, where like they get one against the run play. And there was one in particular that was frustrating where nobody laid a tackle on Luke Pedler. But overall, like that was easily our best defensive game. And really since the end of the first quarter of the Freo game, the defense has been good. O'Sullivan, for the matchup he had, did all right.
I think
Jack
so.
Henry, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, he contested 9 one-on-ones. They said he lost 3 of them, which, like, Gilthorpe's the Hulk. If you're only losing a 30 or one-on-ones to the Hulk, I'll take that any day.
That's the thing. Like, I mean, Adelaide's got some players that are better than our players. It is what it is.
They're good, even with the guys they were missing tonight. I would have liked if we could have, done what the Suns often do to teams at home, where it's like, you're coming in without your best, let's make you pay. And we could have made them pay early. And I think that's where also, like, I get that some people didn't show up tonight because weather was an issue, but, like, I would have loved if it could have gotten louder when we had gotten off to such a great start and had been locking it in the forward half. And even though we only had a couple goals out of it, like, that deserved the crowd to really get up and around him. Like, if the roles are reversed and the Crows are doing that at home, the place is bumping.
Oh, 100%. It's right from the start, right from the tip. But it hasn't been that way in Geelong for a while. It has to really get
frustrating.
I feel like it just really needs to get into the second half for the Geelong crowd to wake up. And I'm as guilty as the next person. It is one pocket of the stadium, the Joel Selwood end, where it really gets rowdy. And that lifts the crowd, but it just has to be. We just need to get sort of woken up somehow by the opposition or opposition fans or an umpiring decision, something like that. And then finally, it came to life in the second half, and it was deafening at some stage, at some point.
Like that first quarter, I know we were not as efficient as we could have been, but I thought the first quarter we were terrific. It was, in terms of territory, in terms of possession, aerial dominance, and it was really frustrating that A, we didn't turn it into more, and B, the crowd didn't really ride with that and turn it into a real advantage. Because I thought the first quarter was better than any quarter we had against Freo. That first quarter, the scoreboard didn't reflect how dominant it was.
No. Because did we kick one out in the full that quarter? I feel like there was 4 goals.
I think so.
And anytime you kick 3 goals or more in a quarter, you've got to be pretty happy with that. I mean, obviously you want to kick 7 goals in a quarter every time, but that doesn't happen. But I'm always happy with 3 goals, and 4 goals. Would have liked a couple more of those to been goals rather than behinds. But it's definitely happy with it. And we doubled their score in the first quarter. I thought Adelaide did well to come back in the second quarter to get it back to 8 points. But
middle quarters we were not great.
Not especially, no.
Second quarter, they were pretty good. I know a lot of people think Rochelli's got to be their polished turd. I'm not sure. I guess so. Looking at the numbers, he was pretty good. They had a couple of their more like fringe guys that I was very impressed with.
No one stood out to me tonight, but I'm so biased with when I watch Geelong. I can't see the opposition. I just see a blur of another colour.
A couple of their guys who didn't get it much were really impactful when they did, like Taylor, who had 3 goals out of just 7 touches, also had an assist. Pedler, only 7 touches, but man, was he scary. Who else? Luke Nankervis, I mean, that 10th touch was the one that Graham handed to him, but he was dangerous. And but Taylor, and then I saw a couple Crows fans talking about like how ridiculous it was that they didn't have Braden Cook in a couple of prior games. And like, he's a legit defender. I like him a lot. I liked him in small doses last year too. They are, even without Walker, even without Dawson, that's a good team and it's a good win. It's just, it is annoying that we didn't cash in, but you like to think that it'll even out and we'll kick 17-4 in a game where we shouldn't to make up for it. That would be great, especially next Monday. That would be awesome.
You think so? I think I'd keep an eye on the expected scores. I know not everyone cares about that, but the eye test for me tonight said Geelong wins this game by 30 points.
Yeah, that's about what I was thinking too.
Yeah, and I think some of those shots on goal, it was really tricky conditions tonight. It was for both teams.
It was conditions. It was also decision making. There were a bunch of times where we tried like a pass across the face on like a high, a really high like rainbow kick, trying to get a mark that just never seemed to work for one reason or another. I didn't like that.
Yep. How many rush behinds were there tonight?
Well, there was one that was, it was probably the right call, but one that they ran in from pretty far out under Blitzov's pressure.
Oh, okay. We left 11 interchanges on the bench. We used 64 out of 75 interchanges. And Adelaide used even less. What's that about?
Well, there was this stretch in the fourth quarter, and they were going on about this. I was watching, FS2 had the 7 feed, so I had that tonight instead of just the Fox Footy feed, and they were talking about there was that long stretch in the fourth quarter where they couldn't get Rankin back on because play just never came over there. And they also noted that we really didn't use Edwards much in the second half. And it was funny because I thought his first quarter was great, and then he definitely fell off some. And I was surprised that we were so quick to take him out. I'm curious if he's going to play on Easter Monday. I mean, Hawthorne's been going with both Reeves and Meek, so I'm curious how we go about that.
Thanks, Ivan Milat, for the donation of $2. Peter Falconio had a great game. Very nice. Who's Peter Falconio? Am I missing something there? You'll have to give me Ivan. I know your name is Ivan Milat, but I'm not sure of the reference. But I appreciate the love. Sorry, Ethan.
No, it's okay.
He's an Australian serial killer. If you didn't know, Australian serial killer history.
Peter Falconio was a murder victim.
Murder victim, yes. Ivan Milat was the. I don't know if he's. Yeah. Anyway, I won't buy into that legal stuff, but yeah, I'll probably get it completely wrong. Anyway, but thank you, Ivan.
And then the other thing, people are harping on not just the Atkins call, but the free kick count in general. If they had called everything that would have been that was out there tonight, the free kick count would not have been 25-13. It would have been like 35-15.
Yeah.
Smith and maybe Mana got away with a couple high tackles, but Josh Worrell, who's a very good defender, only one free against. Are you kidding me? He was holding on every play. He kind of took on. I've seen high school basketball teams do this a bunch, where the strategy is like, well, if we foul every play, they can't call all of them. And that's pretty much what they did, especially Worrell, who, again, is normally a very good player. He was very turnover prone tonight. He helped us lock it in there forward half a bunch. But, yeah, it always seems to go like this. We get one really egregious bad call our way, and somehow that invalidates, like, the 15 less obvious calls that should have gone our way.
It happens all the time, and it happens in other games as well. You just
I know. Like there was one against Collingwood a couple years ago where Jezza was clearly out of bounds. But anyway, it's just like they were holding so much. It was ridiculous. Or there were a couple of marks that weren't paid, like one to O'Connor in particular. I thought O'Connor was another who was very quietly impressive tonight.
Yeah, he was. I'm struggling to find a bad player for Geelong tonight. honestly. I'm sure
Edwards didn't end up playing a ton. I guess Zach Guthrie, although just off of only having 8 touches and not doing a ton, he hasn't been great so far. I know he's capable of more. I guess Bruno only having 15 is a bit of a step back, but I didn't think he was bad. It's just frustrating when Bailey Smith does such a good job of getting in these physical contests and winning the ball, but just that his usage hasn't been as good as some of the others. And when he's such a high volume guy, you wish he could just use it better. Because if he does, he'd be unstoppable.
Yeah, absolutely. Mitch Edwards, 45% game time. I actually thought when he was on the ground, he was going okay.
I thought the first quarter he was great, and
Yeah,
then McAndrew kind of started to get a little over him, and then we reacted to that by playing him a lot less, which was funky.
and I genuinely thought he would be a late out because of the weather. I thought maybe they'll bring Bose back in.
No, I thought knowing that they were going with both Maley and McAndrew, I thought we were going to keep him in.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I thought he did pretty. I thought he was serviceable for his second game of AFL at the level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take my hat off to him. He didn't blow the competition away, but I don't expect his second game.
First
Skinny.
quarter, he looked really good, honestly.
Yeah. No, he was great. He was great.
Other guys who didn't get a lot of it, like Ollie Wiltshire, I thought was really interesting, where like he was dynamic. It seems like he just needs a little bit more fine tuning and seasoning.
He looked good in the wet. He looked good in the wet.
He got after it.
I was very impressed with his limited amount of touches that he got. He seemed to be very effective and was working hard. He was very clean often when he got the ball.
Oh, we definitely worked hard. I can't complain about the effort, other than again, like that one goal where nobody really did much to stop Pedler. Which goal was that? It was their very first goal where he beat O'Sullivan. Yeah. Other than that, I really can't complain about the effort in the slightest. Speaking of effort, Jhye Clark, I thought he was really solid. He's kind of just playing like a little wrecking ball right now.
Really,
and I like what he's doing.
Really happy with him. I mean, only probably one of the blokes that sat on the bench. I mean, other than Edwards, who's clearly they clearly went small ball for most of this game. Sorry to use a basketball reference, but they clearly didn't play all the tools all the time. But yeah, Jhye was another one that was on and off quite a bit. But he was terrific.
Yeah.
I said it was. Darren said it in the chat. It was a team effort. It was absolutely. I couldn't really see anyone who was letting the team down in any. I mean, obviously we all make mistakes. Everyone had moments, I think, where they, because you're going to in the wet.
Yeah,
I think Jeremy didn't kick a goal, but would I say Jeremy had a bad game? I thought he had a great game. 11 touch.
I didn't think he was very good.
I thought he had
just because you expect him to finish.
Yeah, well, exactly right. But he was working hard. Trust me, he was working hard.
He definitely. I'm not questioning the effort out of him or anybody. He was actually our lowest rated player, and then Zach Guthrie was second lowest, which I think is correct.
I just couldn't believe that.
It's a hard game to evaluate. This could be one where the coaches' votes end up really messy, where like a bunch of guys get somewhere between 5 and 8 votes.
I'd love to know. I know we have to wait a few days to see what the coaches say, but I'd love to know what they think. I think they'll be happy with Ollie Henry. I think
so. I think O'Sheen should get some recognition. Honestly, he was not only was he all over Rankin, he had a couple of really nice kicks, and then that last one off the turnover where Rankin should have tried to shepherd and instead got a hand on it. I thought O'Sheen covered him perfectly, and as much as Rankin might have messed up on that play, O'Sheen deserves every bit as much credit.
Yeah, he was good.
And then Sean Manna ranked very high, which is correct. He's a good wet weather player. I don't think he had a single moment tonight where he kind of like acted before he thought, which is something that he's susceptible to, and I didn't see that tonight.
He's the perfect wet weather player, I reckon. And he'll have better games in the wet than he did tonight, but he still played pretty well. I thought
he was very good. He might have been our best. I also thought Dempsey was pretty good. Yep. I'm just so used to it out of him at this point. The player ratings don't like him because of the 7 turnovers.
No.
But I don't think any of those turnovers were necessarily like bad or egregious.
You just feel like you're in the game when he's near the ball, don't you? You feel like, here we go.
He got like they put Rankin. I mean, they put Rochelle on him a couple times, which I think is really interesting because normally he's able to get a mismatch out wide. So this is a sign of respect, and I know that a lot of Crow fans aren't happy with nicks in general, like for example, not having Cook in there, or how long a couple of those guys were on the bench, like Rankin. But he did some things right, like make sure to give the worthy respect, give Dempsey the respect he deserved. I'm just trying to figure out how the heck we're supposed to, you're supposed to go about votes for this one.
What
Other
would you
than,
vote? I'm not kicking you off yet, but who would you, let's jump ahead. Who would you give your
I-
3 2 1s to? Because I'm going to try and remember to do mine tonight. I always forget when I come on.
It's tough because like plus 22 and inside 50s.
Surely Bailey's on your podium.
I think he's got to be in there somewhere, but I don't know if he's my best because, 40 touches, great. Physically at ground level, very good, but 5 score involvements.
Yep.
So I think Mana gets the 3. Smith gets. God, it's tough then. Like maybe Jack Martin gets 2 and Smith gets 1. Dempsey's in the mix too, and then like down ballot O'Sheen and De Koning, and maybe Jack Henry and Ollie Henry get consideration as well. It's a hard one to evaluate. Like I said,
I'd probably have. I'll probably give the 3 to Bailey Smith. I can't deny the meters gained and the possessions and the tackles and.
Territory wise, he was very good, but again, efficiency, like,
yeah,
that's my thing. And there were just a couple where I really thought he had a great opportunity in front of him that he didn't necessarily take.
My theory on my comment on someone who gets 40 touches and turns it over 10 times is they probably used it well 30 times. So I think the more you get, and Mitch Duncan used to do this too, he'd accumulate a lot of it and he'd butcher it a few times, but he'd finish on the foot beautifully about 18 times. And that would, and I would always be focused on his turnovers rather than what he was doing well. And
I loved Bailey at ground level. It was the actual kicking that was like, if you could combine his ground ball gets, that ability, he had 13 ground ball gets, best on ground in that, with like the way Brian uses it most of the time or something, you'd have maybe the greatest player in the history of the sport.
I'm like, the chat is going off. The chat is trying to retire everyone. Jake College-Ashney's done. Reece Stanley's done. Dangerfield's done. It's all the same. It's all kick as well. Everyone's done. I'm going to say Tom Stewart for the 2 votes for me, and I'm going to say Sean Manor for the 1 vote. Is there any strong objections for you on that podium? I think that's a pretty fair podium.
I don't know if I put Stewart's a tough one tonight. It's like, I think it comes down to like how much do you value how we were able to get so much forward time versus who was actually good with that forward time.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Mana really stands out to me. And I think, Polished Herd does have to be Rochelle. We did a good job keeping it out of the hands of their other big guns besides him. Like, yes, Worrell had 30, but he had a bunch of turnovers.
Yep. Pressure on Worrell. Yep. We locked him up. We locked him up really well.
Held Cumming to 10 disposals, held Neil Boland to 11, who I think he's so dangerous. And we did a really good job minimizing his impact.
Who was the Crow that hurt his shoulder at one stage? I can't remember who that was.
I think that was Worrell, and then he stayed, or was it Pedler?
I'm not sure, but he was really struggling getting his Guernsey off at one point.
It was Worrell at one point after he had like prevented a Jack Martin mark mid-second quarter.
Right.
But he stayed out there. Maybe it was Pedler, because Pedler ended up only with 7 touches, but he still had 72% time on ground. Who was their lowest time on ground? Okay, Nankervis, 45%. Maley, 58%. I don't know, they're an interesting team, and I enjoy watching them. And I think we'll probably go in, we'll see who's healthy. It's couple months away, but go in as underdogs to the rematch there, but we'll have a shot at them.
Oh yeah,
that'll be fun. And I I just freaking love the Adelaide Oval, and playing there is such a great challenge.
I've lived in Australia all my life, except 1 year, and I've never been there yet. So I've got to get there.
I am already dying to get back there. Like the few minutes where it absolutely poured when I was there last year for Showdown, while everyone else was under the roof at Marvel watching Jezza kick 11 or whatever.
What are you doing?
The way it poured for those couple of minutes tonight, that was like that entire game.
Yeah.
And I was 7 rows off the field, so I didn't have any shelter.
We haven't really talked about Jack Martin, and before you go, I want to get your thoughts on that goal that he kicked, the gather and the goal.
That was great.
For me, that was I was nearly standing on the chair. I was that excited.
He made me really happy tonight, and I thought he was so bad in opening round. So for him to come back and turn around, he was all right against Frio. He was excellent tonight. And he's another like wet weather player. And frankly, Brad Close is supposed to be a wet weather player. He has not been. I really think he will get the message from this and come back into the team quickly. I have all the faith in his ability. I think this is a quick thing.
I think
Tyson Stengel would have definitely helped us tonight. I think we would have had at least a couple more goals with Tyson cleaning things up in there. But Jack Martin was a great wet weather player tonight.
I can't believe it. He doesn't look like he would be a good wet weather player, but he is. And thank you, Horatio. Much love to you. I love chatting with you. Are you coming on tonight, Horatio? I do love a chat about the old days. But yeah, come on if you got time. If you're not I know Paul's already gone to bed, but if you're in your pajamas, or you might be in bed. But Ethan, you're welcome to stay on a bit longer. I do have Declan in the chat.
Oh no, last week or 2 weeks ago almost now, I was waiting forever and I was exhausted, so I don't want to.
I was actually going to get more people. I was actually tonight, if there was people in the chat and Max Holmes fans joined as well, I was going to get 3 or 4 people on the screen at one time and just have a bit of a group chat, something a bit different, because I actually don't want to go till like 1:30 or anything like that. It's a Thursday night, and I assume other people are going to go to bed soon as well. But yeah, so happy for you to stay on if you want. But I'll get Declan or Max on if you want to jump on. I'm not sure if you want your Declan. Max has got his camera on. Max, I'm going to add you now while Ethan's still here. You can hear you, Max, but you can't see. But that's all right. You're just joining with the audio.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, how you going? First time on the show, is it?
Yeah, first time.
Thank you, mate. We appreciate. We absolutely, and we love Ethan and everyone in the chat loves Ethan. But Jesus, do I love a newbie on the show, mate? So thank you for joining.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was trying to find my Geelong shirt, which Ethan has on right now. Couldn't find it. But...
that's all right. That's all right. What did you think of the game tonight? Did you go, or did you just watch on the telly? Or
no, I watched it on the TV. Actually, on 7.
Yep.
I always get nervous when we're playing at Geelong, and we're playing against a team we should beat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought we're probably going to get the win. But yeah, it was good to see the win in the end.
Absolutely had to win that, because we hadn't lost in about 14 attempts against the Crows. So, well, they haven't beaten us in 14 attempts.
Yeah, I'm going to say that Tom Stewart played the best game he's played in a while, and of course it was against the Crows. I swear this guy's played his best game against the Crows for the last like 4 years. I don't know what Nick's has been the coach, I'm pretty sure, for those 4 years, and he has done nothing about it. He's I think he took 11 intercept marks or something ridiculous.
Crazy. He does it all the time against Adelaide. I don't know how. Horatio, I'm posting the guest link again. I posted it early, but I'm posting it again. I think it's anyway. Who is your? I'm going to start with you. Let's hear your best 3 players on the ground. Obviously, Stewart. Did you agree with me before? Like, Stewart was in my best 3 players on the ground, but would you have had him?
I don't know if he was I don't think he's like the best player, but I'm going to put him at 3 votes anyway, just because of the situation, because I thought Adelaide would respond pretty much from the 4 years previously. And I would go number 2. I would go SDK. I've been
nice.
a big doubter of him, and I think he really stepped up when it actually mattered. And I actually, even though he only really impacted in the last quarter, I would go Jhye Clark. Also a big doubter of him, but I loved his effort. I think he got like 10 disposals in that last quarter or something ridiculous.
Do you feel bad when you doubt someone and then or do you feel like, oh, I'm happy for them, but do you feel like a bit bad about yourself? I do sometimes when I'm really bad on someone, I'm hating on someone. I can't remember who it was. Someone a few years ago, I was just like on him all the time. Probably Baby Guthrie, Zach Guthrie. I used to pick on him so much, and I absolutely love him. I absolutely love that guy now, but I feel like an idiot. Yeah. Anyway, Ethan's joined the chat. Oh, sorry, Horatio's joined the chat too.
Yeah, I'm always too harsh on the players, to be honest. I was also kind of harsh on Zach Guthrie as well when he was playing. But yeah, I don't think we've hit like second gear or third gear yet. I think we're still trying to figure out what our forward line is. I don't know if it's like, it was a couple of opportunities. I really loved Ollie Henry's game as well. Another big doubter of him. And I think it was mentioned before about where he got tripped, and then he started to complain, and then immediately after he got that rundown tackle, and that resulted in the goal. And I think that's exactly what it needs to do. I don't mind him complaining because it was a bad decision, but he made that choice to go run down. I can't remember who it was, but that for me was real improvement. I don't know if that was from being in the VFL or I don't know. Because to be honest, I think this is technically his last year, I reckon. Otherwise, I feel like maybe a Polkinghorne next year will overtake him. So he's really got to prove that he's still ahead of Polkinghorne there.
Done a good job.
But yeah, and there was also another couple moments. I think you were mentioning before, Ethan, about like Dempsey and Ollie Henry in that forward line. A couple moments they bumped into each other in the goal square. I was like, it reminded me a lot of Dangerfield, and like, I don't know. So I feel like they're still trying to figure out that forward line. But yeah, I think Ollie Henry, his pressure was very good, and his work ethic was also pretty good in this game. Now he just needs to figure out where he fits in the forward line. It's because he doesn't really have I don't think he knows what his role is. And I don't even think we know what his role is, to be honest.
Sorry. Anyway. Yeah, that's the problem sometimes when you put guys in positions where you don't really. I mean, you ask them to do something, but they don't really know what they're supposed to do. It is tricky. Ethan, have you been a supporter or a hater of Ollie Henry in recent months or years?
I had been down on him for quite some time, and tonight he totally won me over, just with the effort, with the finding ways to impact the game, even if the ball wasn't coming to him. I thought he was very good. This is the happiest I've been with a game he's played in probably since 2023. I really liked what he did.
Yeah, getting a bit of love in the chat there. Declan from Darren. Feel Geelong is in second gear, still working out midfield and forward line. You'd think you'd be in second gear in round 3, wouldn't you? I'm going to add Horatio as well. So we're having a bit of a 4-way love in. Here is Horatio. Hello, Horatio.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Have you met Declan before, Horatio?
No, I haven't.
Oh, this is Max Holmes. Sorry, I'm getting him confused. Max Holmes fan. Declan's still in the background.
Fan. Big Max Holmes fan. I went to school with his brother Hunter. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
is he same year or older or younger?
He was 1 year above me.
1 year above it. And tell us the truth. Is he a good bloke or is he a bit of a prick?
Nah, he was very skinny. Yeah. I didn't even know he was. I mean, I knew he played football, but I didn't really consider him a football player. But no, he's a good bloke. So I would expect him to be playing for Geelong
You'd think
in the
so,
next 2
playing for
years.
Geelong. Playing for Geelong, wouldn't you? Horatio, what do you think of the game tonight? Good game?
Oh, it was one of those, like I could tell, like I said it in the Discord at quarter time. I was just like, it's going to be another one of those bloody games. Like, we should have buried these blokes. And yet, we've left the door open, and now it's just going to be one of those annoying games where we don't shake them for the whole night. And then they're beaten by a goal. It's a couple of goals. And that's pretty much what happened. We seem to throw one of those in every so often. And tonight was, with the conditions and everything as they were, not taking those early chances. I sort of knew it was coming, and it was very irritating for most of the night, but you walk away with the points and you can't complain too much.
You want to put them away, but it's just hard sometimes. And the Cats were grinding, and I think we all agree that they were fighting, and they weren't. I mean, we let Adelaide hit the front, but we stayed in the game, which is what you want. You don't want to get. We didn't have one of those moments where we let the opposition kick 7 goals in a row, which felt like that was two weeks in a row.
I think the reason why that didn't happen was because Adelaide's midfield is pretty much non-existent.
Yeah, fair call.
Even with ours, I think honestly, if they implemented like the Western Bulldogs midfield, I reckon we probably would have lost. I reckon, just because of like we just weren't clinical enough in front of goal. But maybe that was just because of we kind of controlled the game, so it didn't really matter in the end. But I don't know. I still think we're missing a piece in that midfield. Like a bit more experience in that midfield. Like Atkins played really well. Like the commentary was kind of glazing him the entire time, but he did play very well. But I think like Patrick Dangerfield, obviously, and he's going to probably play in that midfield for bursts in when we go into September. But I think for next year, to definitely push Gold Coast, who will get even better. We do need like a Zach Butters or even like a Harley Raid, to be honest.
Yep. Who's your absolute dream? I mean, don't worry about whether it's possible or not, but who would you want? I mean, I'd take a Bond every day of the week.
I would just take a second Max Holmes.
Second Max.
Yeah, second Max Holmes.
Then you could be the number 1 and number 2 fans of Max Holmes.
Yeah.
Max Holmes, he is good. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
And he's a 2-time Carnegie Greaves medalist.
If Freo hadn't extended Hayden Young, I'd still be screaming for him. He fit us so well.
You've always loved Hayden Young.
He's such a good user of the football.
No, I would have babies with Max. Not Max Holmes, probably not Max Holmes, but with Marcus Bontempelli. Yep, definitely. I love that man, and he ticks the box, the good bloke box. So he'd be perfectly welcome and fit in nicely at Geelong if he wants to finish his career.
He ticks the box, the good bloke box. So he'd be perfectly welcome and fit in nicely at Geelong if he wants to finish his career.
Have been to his restaurant. Good place.
So he'd be perfectly welcome and fit in.
I can hear myself talking on the thing. Someone must have there. I don't know where that was coming from. It was coming from someone's speaker anyway. I don't know if anyone else heard that, but it was just me repeating myself. Horatio. Ethan's dropped out. Maybe that was Ethan. What did you like about? He's back. I'll just chuck him back in 1 sec.
What did you like?
No. I've got you back, Ethan. But there might be.
Sorry, I couldn't. I sounded messed up again.
Okay. I would have. Anyway, sorry, Horatio. Yeah. What was I saying? I've totally lost my train of thought now because the audio issues have thrown me. But Horatio, just talk me through what you liked about the game tonight, which stood out to you. I mean, obviously there was some sloppy moments, but what was the moment? What were a few of the moments that stood out to you?
I think, apart from the fact that I think we were a little bit blasé in front of goal for a good chunk of the evening. I don't know. It sort of, I think for particularly in those middle quarters, I sort of felt like we were trying to play dry weather footy on a pretty wet, slippery night. Just getting a little bit cute and things like that for periods of time. And, the thing that I really enjoyed was just, that last quarter when they hit the front, they had a sniff and we knew that we had to lift. We just knuckled down and just hit every contest.
Yeah.
Hard. So, when we had to get our hands dirty and do the tough stuff, we were prepared to get down and get the job done. So, as disappointing as I was with certain elements of the game earlier on in the night, just to see the desperation there, you can't ask for much more than that, really.
I think I can explain a little of why we tried to go more like dry weather footy. That first quarter we were so good in aerial contests that I think we probably tried after that to lean on it a little more than we should have.
Yeah, it does. You get a bit carried away with it sometimes when you have a couple of good moments and you're just like, oh, let's just do this all the time instead of just realizing that, hang on, we need to play proper wet weather footy. And that was what the fourth quarter was. It was territory. It was lock the ball in. I think we had 3 times as many inside 50 tackles to them, or something like. It might have been 4 times as much.
For the full game, it was like 25-4, which is unreal.
Way more, 5 times as much. Then there you go, insane. And that for me, I was just sitting back. I wasn't sitting back. I was on the edge of my seat in that fourth quarter. But I'm like, the boys, they're doing it again. They're just they're finding a way. They're playing footy the way it should be played in the wet weather. Yeah, Horatio, I completely agree. There were and Ethan and number one Max Holmes fan. There were times in this game where we weren't playing the right way. But that fourth
there were
quarter,
moments where we tried to get too cute.
Yep.
Ryan had one where he ended up slipping and having to improvise.
Yeah.
And actually got something out of it. And Dempsey had one as well where it was like, he kind of approached it like a basketball player trying to go and I'm going to cross this defender up.
Yep.
Well, I think that where the Crows got back into the game was just they were playing that kind of short, that really short, chippy game. So that, instead of trying to, we were trying to get these chains of handballs going and, ended up, a lot of them ended up being hospital hand passes. And
we did have a share of hospital handballs tonight for sure. Everyone seemed to have one during that third quarter especially.
But yeah, they kind of got that sort of short, wet weather sort of game that tends to be pretty effective these days, where it's just you've got to just work the ball forward and work the ball, just get it forward. And I think we kind of woke up to that a bit. Yeah, we woke up to that in the fourth quarter because they barely got it down there. And there was that passage with Tom Stewart on the wing there where he was just, I've just got to get this forward. I'm just going to keep going through. I'm just going to keep going because this ball's got to go. It's got to go our way. It can't go out the back here. So it was just things like that where it was like, right, and of course, the weather was. When you see you can see the rain on the telly that it's pissing down pretty hard. So
it's up there, and I know that was just for a couple minutes, but it's up there with some of the most intense rain I've seen during a game. There was one during Gather Round a few years ago where it was raining so hard, not only could you see it, you could hear it. It was a Port and Bulldogs game. This was an all-timer, but there were definitely a couple moments of that. Apparently the rain at Freo could be really nasty this weekend, so that could be another one to keep an eye on. They've got the Tigers coming in. So that might put ours to shame.
That cyclone Narelle.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I lived in Perth for a year, and I can tell you, it doesn't rain much, but when it does, it really rains. Like it doesn't
I've
muck
gotten
around
that
over there.
impression out of both Perth and Adelaide.
Queens up in northern Queensland can be a bit the same. But yeah, when I lived in Perth, seriously, I'd only been over there for about a month, and it pissed down all morning. And like there were dudes out on the street with canoes and stuff like that. But then so everybody was out there splashing around for an hour or two. But by the end of the day, you wouldn't have thought it had rained. By the end of the day, you wouldn't have thought it had rained at all. It was gone.
That's like the opposite of living here, where like it says it's going to rain a week in advance. It rains. It's just a steady rain, nothing crazy. Maybe for a minute it really goes hard. Maybe it lightens up for a minute, but it's pretty predictable and easy to deal with here most of the time.
Well,
Yeah,
Geelong
well,
will see heavy tonight, that's for sure. Absolutely. Number one Max Holmes fan, throwing it back to you. Have you been to a game of footy where you've absolutely left at the end of the day with your every piece of clothing just wringing wet with water? Have you put yourself through that, or have you? mostly avoided it?
I don't like. I love the cold. I hate the heat, so I don't
me too.
usually bring like hoodies and jumpers with me, and I don't buy the wet weather gear. And I was like sitting in the front row at the MCG game, and I remember I don't think it was a Geelong game, but I was with my friends, and it was just pouring down, and we just sat there the entire time, and we didn't get up to get food, so we're literally sitting there for the 120 minutes or whatever it was. But yeah, that was And then I'm pretty sure in one of those games, like someone like streaked the field or something as well. So that was pretty funny.
Wasn't one of the mates.
And they slipped over. It was right in front of us in like the goal square.
I remember watching this. I want to say it involved Hawthorn. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that was when it was. Maybe that wasn't when it was like pouring down, but that was. I remember that game. Yeah.
You probably remember, Ben, firstly the Freo game, I think in 2004, where the few of the Freo guys got hypothermia. It was like I was down at the pub, one of the pubs down at what was the name of the pub down in Geelong? The one that was at the old Volum Brewery, the one that was inside the old Volum Brewery. And I was with my sister, and we started walking down, and I could see the clouds coming, and I turned, I'm like, this isn't good. And it just started hammering, and it was so cold. By the time we got to the ground, like I was drenched. I spent like all through like quarter time, and then probably 10 minutes into the second quarter in the pokies with the thing on me trying to dry myself out. And then fortunately the rain eased off, and so we kind of slowly dried out, but geez, it was cold.
There's two games that I remember that were pissing down that I remember. One, I went with mum and my sister, older sister. It was at the MCG. I was behind the goals. Wasn't many people there that day. It's not like these days where you get 60,000 almost every time. But I didn't have a poncho, but I had a garbage bag, and it was kind of sort of covering my face. It sort of got a bit weird because it was blowing a gale. And anyway, I kicked the ball into the crowd, and I sort of launched myself over the top of my sister to take the mark. Took it clean. It was beautiful. One grab, no double clutching, none of that stuff. And then it just sort of showed the crowd. It was my moment, the highlight of my life. Threw it back to the goal umpire. I tried to get him on the head, but I think I missed him. But when you said 2004, Horatio, I thought you were going to talk about the Brisbane Lions game where we Geelong pretty much. This is the start of this Geelong dynasty, really. I know we took a while to win that 2007 premiership, but it all started in 2004.
You talked about the one where it started raining, like during the third quarter or something like that. Like it had been a pretty nice day, and then it hammered for about 15 minutes.
We beat the back-to-back premier on our deck with a bunch of young Geelong kids, and I had about 10 beers in the outer, as it was back then, at the city end of the ground, and probably half of the glasses I drank were full of rainwater. But that was one of the best games ever. I still think of that game today. And I didn't care. Number one, Max Holmes. I don't know how old you are, but I feel like I was roughly about your age at the time, and it was just you'd think, oh shit, I'm absolutely covered in rain, but I absolutely loved it. And some of those, especially when you win, when you lose, not so much fun.
You might like. I remember that game. I was at that game, standing under the scoreboard where the new stand when they put the electronic scoreboard in where the new stand is for a while.
Yep.
Yeah, I was standing under that. What a great day that was. The other one, like, there's a few going way back, but as far as Geelong games go, do you remember the one against North where it pissed down for the whole 4 quarters? The highway was flooded. I had friends. It took them 7 hours to get home. The only reason I got home in 3 was because I knew you had a bush bash out the back of Lara.
Little river.
But like that, oh man, like it was like we ended up, we were bush bashing so hard. We ended up going through some paddock somewhere. I'm like, look, just keep driving because we don't want to get back out on the highway here because everyone's stuck. No one can go anywhere. So like, we get home and I had people messaging me going, "Oh, you know, where are you?" I'm like, I've been home for the last hour. I'm like, what? We're still in bloody Corio. But yeah, like that was the day. I think like it just bucketed down all bloody day, and Wayne Carey kicked this goal like off the ground from the boundary line from 50 meters out, running away from the goals. Like, and as soon as it's one of those, I was just like, you're not having it. It's wet. It's cold. You're not having a great day. And then he kicks something and you know, it's over. And it's like, and now I've got to sit here for the rest of the day while we get beat and then try to get all the way back to Melbourne in this weather.
You and I reminisce about games 20, 30 years ago, but I reckon the kids and especially the 10-year-olds and the 12-year-olds will be looking at games like tonight, and not just tonight's game, but moments like that Ollie Dempsey goal over the shoulder, top of the goal square. I mean, that'll stay with some of these kids. Might only go to a couple of games of footy a year, and I guarantee you that'll stick in their head. It was just great. I mean, some of those things, some of the things you see when you first start following footy, it stays with you forever. And I mean, I've seen so much footy now that, you know, a goal over the shoulder to win the game from Ollie Dempsey doesn't do it as much as for me is probably what it should. But and I go to footy every week, so it's kind of hard to get up and about for everything. But I love a Geelong win. Don't get me wrong. Number one, Max Holmes fan. What's the greatest? I know we're talking about tonight's game, but we are starting to wind it up. It is a weeknight. But what's the greatest game that you've ever been to?
Okay, there's probably 2. Last year's one was pretty good against Hawthorn. I went to the Easter Monday game. I was surrounded by about 100. I think I was the only Geelong supporter in this area, and it was the best. It was the best experience, and they're all like young people as well, all around me. But yeah, that was because they were all like they were all celebrating like the TikTok celebrations all the Hawthorn players were doing, and it was hilarious when Sean Manor kicked that goal.
They had the dumbass wizard hats.
Yeah, the wizard hats. That was pretty good. And also I went with like 5 Collingwood supporters to the Collingwood game last year, which was the one where the guy, who was it, Jack Crisp, kicked the goal or tried to kick a goal after the siren, and I spent like whole month ribbing my friends for that, and that was great. Those like 2 best, like, I guess, experiences with like friends or recent moments, I reckon. But
that was great. It was crazy that the one that went to we thought it was going the Jack Crisp shot after the siren. It was like, oh, here we go.
It was like, oh my God, we're going to see this for the next 10 years.
Yep. Well, it's like Ashton McGrath, the Miracle on Grass, Brisbane.
Yeah, and it was it was like the record-breaking game as well. So I was like, it was not looking good.
Unbelievable. Ethan, what's the greatest game you've got? Most of it. I mean, what's the greatest game you've seen in Australia, Ethan? I don't know how many.
I mean, it's tough because last year, as much fun as I had, most of the games weren't all that competitive.
Was it the game you went to where we all caught up at Little Creatures? And
I think so, because having access to the rooms after that day was unbelievable. In terms of like on-field product, probably the Collingwood Brisbane game at the G the night before that with like 82,000 there.
I'm not sure if you mates or on. I don't know if you know the guy. Yank on the footy is coming to Australia as
Of course,
well.
yes, he's awesome.
Oh,
In
good,
fantasy,
good.
I just beat him in fantasy last week.
Beautiful. I did mention to him when I went on his show early in the year that you got into the change rooms, and I said the club's pretty good with that kind of thing, especially for overseas visitors. I don't know how you did it, but I did mention to him he should reach out to you to talk about it. So
Yes, I will. Don't want to reveal my sources, but
no, of course not.
we'll talk to him. Yeah, because that was unreal. Not just being in there for the song after, but just getting to hang out and talk with some of the guys and their families was unreal.
I'll tell you what you've never done, which is my biggest brag, and indulge me, everyone. I've been able to have a kick with Gary Ablett Senior and Gary Ablett Jr. and Nathan Ablett all in the same 15-minute stretch.
You can't say I've done that.
I was about 10 years old, and our neighbours were friends with Gary Ablett Senior, and his two little kids were hanging around, and I just wanted to kick the footy with Senior, and then he said piss off, and because he got sick of kicking the torpedoes at us, and he sent us back to my place, and Gary came and raided the fridge and didn't ask. He just came and what have you got, and helped himself. And then little Nathan would have been about 3 years old, and then Mum kicked us out, and we were just kicking the footy in the backyard for a little bit. So I didn't know they were going to be any good at the time, but anyway, I don't know how I got onto that story. I was just finding an excuse to tell it. So there you go.
That's unbelievable.
Anyway, any final thoughts on tonight's show, guys? Because I'm going to try and wrap this up in the next 10 minutes, if that's all right.
I reckon Mitch Edwards, big shout out. Even though he didn't play in the last quarter, it was real. I mean, it was against Lachlan McAndrew, who he's young ruckman, but the game suits his style of play. So I thought Mitch Edwards held up pretty well, and also, maybe he didn't get credited for the tackles, but I swear he's pressure. He followed up on a lot of midfielders, not even just his ruckman opponent as well. So I really like that.
Yeah, he was around the contest. He was active. He was aggressive.
Yeah, that's what I like about him. He did it at the start of the second quarter last week. His attack at the footy it's spot on, and he's a pack buster. I love it.
That's why he was able to keep up with Luke Jackson, where clearly he's at a talent deficit.
Yeah.
But he was able to let him not go completely off the chain. And Jackson was damn good against us, by the way. Once I went back and watched a little bit more, gave that one another look. Really, Jackson was excellent.
Jackson's been a good player for about 4 years. He's one of the better ruck. He probably doesn't get as much love as he should, really, being over in Fremantle. But he's one of the premier ruck. Max Gawn's probably still number one for me, and Brodie's just a shade behind him in number two. But Luke Jackson would have to be on the podium. For me, I'm probably forgetting someone really good. But Mitch Edwards coming with a bullet. Toby Conway running around at the training track during the week, which was good news to hear. So. But
I'm curious what we do with the will Edwards be in on Easter Monday?
Yes.
It's because of the lesser time he got in the second half tonight. That's why I'm unsure.
Sorry,
but you would think
Gary Ablett Senior nude. Yeah.
But you would think we're gonna have to go with two, assuming they keep going with Reeves and Meek, which, by the way, Reeves has been very good for them, which is surprising because I thought coming into this year, I didn't think much of him, and I really like Meek.
Yep. Yeah,
he seems to be handling more of the ruck work for him this year so far, doesn't he?
It's funny, as much as obviously can't stand him, but I want to give some credit to they have good players, but Meek, when he was with Freo, I remember there was a game years ago, I think it was in 22, where they didn't have Darcy, and he came in and played great, and it's why is this guy not getting more time?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think with Mitch though, like maybe it's a case of because I think he really does attack the contest pretty hard that we don't want him smashing himself up too early on in the piece, and then we've got another injured ruckman on the sideline. So just trying to balance it out and keep him, reasonably fresh and injury free. Because the other thing is like when I thought some of his tap work was actually pretty good tonight too. Well, I think that's something that's rapidly that I've seen some pretty significant improvement in what I've seen of him so far this year.
As we ran the show out, I want everyone to say where they saw a Geelong player in public. Assuming you have, by the way. Max Holmes, number one fan. Have you seen a Geelong player in public before? And what was the? Were you showering with them 3 times as Darren Gilmore?
Yeah, not showering with them.
I hope not.
I think Sam De Koning seen in like down in the peninsula. It's either Sam or Tom. I can't tell sometimes, but I'm pretty sure it's Sam. I've seen Sam De Koning down the peninsula. That's the last time I've seen a Geelong player in public.
Horatio?
I'm sort of on the wrong side. Are we talking about current players?
Anyone.
Like
Neville Bruns if you want.
Yeah, because I'm on the wrong side of town for it. I did see Junior out at Druin a couple of years ago.
Junior,
because he got families out there, so yeah, he came out and played a game and was sort of mingling with the riffraff after the game. So yeah, so that would probably be. Although apart from like one where I actually bumped into someone and hung out with them, not including premiership or final celebrations, I bumped into Tristan Lynch on Fitzroy Street one night and got on the piss with him and Ricky Olorenshaw from Essendon for a whole night. That was a wild night. That was.
I had a chat with David Clark at the Eureka one time, the son of the other David Clark.
The one who couldn't kick.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Ethan, I'm assuming your interactions are probably when you went into the club rooms.
Correct. But I've had a couple other like close calls that I'm really annoyed I haven't been able to nail, like when guys have been visiting here during the off season. And I do know that Cal's new punter, Angus Davies, is like one of Brian's childhood friends, so he'll probably be coming out here to visit this coming off season because he's gone to visit him when he was in Tulsa, and I think it's a lot easier to convince people to visit San Francisco than it is to visit Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah, maybe. San Francisco is a nice place. I've been there once.
I have had some really frustrating close calls, like Charlie Cameron. There's video of him singing Country Roads at a karaoke bar that I've been to. Or there's a couple others. Like I was at a football game at Stanford that Tristan Jerry and Harry Sheasel and a couple of their North teammates were at. And I didn't realize until I looked at Instagram like an hour after the game. And I look at my photo. It's like, oh, yeah, that tall guy standing in the end zone. That had to be Tristan Jerry. So I've just got to like keep an eye out because this is, when guys come to the U.S., they're usually either flying in here or L.A.
I saw Matthew Knight's Richmond captain, I think, Essendon coach, former Geelong assistant coach.
I think just lost audio again.
Who, me or you might have lost your audio? Yeah, your audio's dropping it. Anyway, I saw Matthew Knights at a Hawaii airport in 1995. Anyway, we might have lost you, Ethan. I'll let you go. I'll let you go if you can hear me. Toodaloo. Yeah, I'll kick him off. Can't hear me. Max Home's number one fan. Seriously, thank you for coming on. I said, I'm
Yeah,
not
we'll
joking. I love it when we get a new person on the show. You are always welcome to come on, mate. And I'll normally it'll be Paul hosting this. I'll probably fill in every now and then, but yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you. Sorry if you wanted a little bit more a one-on-one sort of a setup.
No, that's perfect. It's fine.
I
I'll
didn't
be
want everyone to wait
I'll be
too
on again next week after we beat the Hawks. I'll be going to the game probably.
Absolutely. We'll probably go live straight after the after the song. But I imagine that show will probably run for about 3 or 4 hours. So if you're at the game, just whenever you get home, or if you want to.
Yeah, I live like pretty close to MCG, which is good.
Beautiful.
So.
Beautiful. Well, even we've had people on the train and all that sort of stuff before. Anyway, well, appreciate it, mate, coming on. Go Cats, and we'll hopefully we'll chat with you again soon.
All right, see you later.
Take care, buddy. All right, everyone. That's been another post-game live in the bank. I've been filling in for Paul James. Some people liked it, some people didn't. I've appreciated the banter in the chat tonight, as always. Thank you. It has been a fun show. I've enjoyed the show. I do. What does everyone think about the 4-person or 3-person format rather than the 1-to-1? I personally like it. I think Paul prefers the 1-to-1. I think they both work. They've both got their place. I just wanted to have a little bit more people on the screen tonight, just because I was trying to keep it to an hour and a half, just because it's a bit late, especially if you live in Victoria. If you live in Perth or on the other side of the world, it's probably not that bad, but Horatio liked it anyway. Mix of both. Yeah, Sarah says mix of both as well. Thanks to everyone who came on. Thanks to everyone in the chat, as always. If you've never been on before and you want to come on, by all means, reach out. You don't have to turn your camera on. We will have a chat with you. Just with your audio, if that's what you want to do. We like seeing who we're talking to, but we mostly just want to hear your opinions on the Cats and what you thought on the game, what you liked and didn't like, and anything else you want to talk about. Whether you want to talk about having a shower with Gary Ablett Senior, that's great as well. We're happy to hear all kinds of weird stories on this show. Anyway, that'll do for another good show, everyone. I'm out. I'll see you on the next one. Go, you mighty Cats.
It's time for the show. Dropping pussy down facts, mitts, forwards and backs. Representing G-Town while talking the smack. Clashing facts like Patty, where the hell you at? Hoops crew are exploding, don't ever look back. Then we got Paul, yeah, he knows his stuff. He's a man, he's a myth, taking on the nuts. The man don't miss, he loves to react. His words cut deep, he's a counterattack. Paul's on fire, brings a mic to life. Don't fuck with P-Dog if you value your life. Oh, they fuck shit up, yeah, they run G-Town. The Hoops crew's here and they'll never back down. Jake, Johnny, Sambo, always rocking the game. Betty and Paul, man, remember the names. In the studio, Jake's bringing the noise. With Johnny and Sambo, the chaps chat boys. They're electric and they're ready to roll. The boys are on fire and they're taking control. Recaps and previews, yeah, they cover it all. Part of the Hoops crew with Betty and Paul. They fuck shit up, yeah, they run G-Town. The Hoops crew, baby, they'll never back down. Jake, Johnny, Sambo, always rocking the game. Betty and Paul, chasing glory and fame. Brad with the sleeves, Max Holmes and Jack Bowes. Tommy fucking Atkins, he'll break your damn nose. Stewie in the middle, and Reese in the ruck. They see Big Jezza and they know they're fucked. They're the G-Town boys, go hard or go home. They're fucking insane, taking over the throne. Oh, they fuck shit up, yeah, they run G-Town.